Allah doesn't need him to refrain from eating and drinking. In other words, his fasting is not accepted. Allahu Akbar. You must fast from three things as well. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, anyone who fasts Ramadan out of faith, meaning believing it is obligatory, legislated by Allah and no one else. Anyone who fasts Ramadan out of faith and seeking reward from Allah, seeking appreciation and acceptance and reward from Allah Azza wa Jal, then Allah Azza wa Jal promises that He will forgive such a person's sins. Allahu Akbar. So the question is, we want to earn this reward, but this reward is only given to those who fast. So our greatest question now should be, how do we fast correctly? So many people think that fasting is just about refraining from eating, drinking, and sexual relations and the other matters that invalidate the fasting. And that is true, but this is one type of fasting. And in order to perfect our fasting and to fast correctly, there is another aspect of fasting. We need to also fast from three other things. I'll let you know what this is in the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And that is that Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, the fasting is of two types. There is a fasting of the stomach from eating, drinking, and the fasting of the private parts from desires and sexual relations. He said, this is the easy type of fasting. So many people avoid eating and drinking. They do this for diet reasons, for weight loss reasons. And that's not the biggest thing of fasting. He said, the second type of fasting, which is the much more difficult type of fasting, he said, the fasting of the limbs, the fasting of the eyes from the haram, the fasting of the ears from listening to al-haram, the fasting of the tongue, the fasting of the hands from typing al-haram and touching al-haram, and the fasting of the feet that you don't walk to al-haram. That is the fasting. That is what corrects your fasting. That alongside fasting from eating, drinking, you must fast from three things as well. And they found in the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam when he said, مَنْ لَمْ يَدَعْ قَوْلَ الزُّورِ وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ وَالْجَهْلِ فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ فِي أَنْ يَدَعَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, whoever doesn't give up on false speech, swearing, telling lies, backbite, slander, gossip. You see, people do this. In the nights of Ramadan, they get together and they begin to backbite and slander and gossip and curse. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, whoever doesn't fast from evil speech, وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ, and whoever doesn't fast from evil deeds are the sins that are done by the eyes. Seeing al-haram, this is al-amala bih. Listening to al-haram, talking al-haram, all of this is al-amala bih. Wal-jahl, and whoever doesn't fast from ignorance. And ignorance is two things. Ignorance is when you know knowledge and you don't implement it. If I know the fire burns and I touch the fire, that's ignorance. If I know that prayer is obligatory and I don't pray, that's ignorance. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, whoever doesn't fast from ignorance, meaning implement what you know. And the second type of ignorance is foolish, arrogant character and behavior, such as screaming and shouting at the people and insulting them, raising your voice, fighting with others. This is jahl as well. That's why when a person fasts, if someone was obnoxious and bad and rude towards you, the sunnah is to just say, Inni sa'im, I am fasting, I am fasting. Meaning I'm fasting, I'm holding my tongue back, I will not say anything bad. So the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever doesn't fast from false speech and evil deeds and ignorance, then Allah is not in need of the fasting of that person. Allah doesn't need him to refrain from eating and drinking. In other words, his fasting is not accepted. Allahu Akbar. Now that's a serious hadith. That's a huge hadith teaching us that the purpose of Ramadan was what? I told you at the beginning, it was at-taqwa. The purpose of fasting was to nurture at-taqwa. And I told you taqwa means to increase good deeds and to cut away from the bad deeds. How then can someone fast If you're fasting and you're avoiding eating what's halal, you're not eating an apple, you're not drinking water, this is halal. You're not being intimate with your halal spouse. If you're avoiding what's halal for Allah, how can you then do what's haram? How can you do al-haram with your tongue, al-haram with your eyes, al-haram with your ears, al-haram with your hand? Those who have boyfriend, girlfriend relationships, whether in the days or the nights of Ramadan, all of this is off limits. So my brothers and sisters in Islam, get it, understand it. When we fast, when we avoid eating, drinking, we are nurturing our heart with a taqwa. The greater type of fasting is to fast from al-haram that the eye commits, the ear commits, and the tongue commits, and the hand commits. Then and only we will earn, inshaAllah, great reward for our fasting.